blue for me?
Yep.
Thank you, brother.
We're going to do a show on that one of these days.
I would love to.
Things that aggravate, stupid things that aggravate
The
Jim.
chair that squeaks the entire show.
It should be things that bug Jim. I'm ready when you are.
You are going to nail the Whiteside Chrysler Dodge. No, you're going to
just
screw
said
that up and you're going to
Hartshorn.
get her name correct.
Hartshorn.
Yes. Yeah.
Kelly Hartshorn.
I'm
Yeah.
going to blow it.
It's the 101. Brought to you by Whiteside
What if I
Chrysler
say it's
Dodge
the 101
Jeep.
brought to you by Kelly Hartshorn?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we have our guest, Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep. There you go, Michael. You ready?
I'm ready. Welcome to the 101, brought to you by Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep. I'm Michael Morris with my buddy, Dr. Ryan Brown. Doc, how are you?
I'm doing great.
That
was
was the most uplifting. I'm so happy right now because you are always so down whenever we start this show. Like you're not excited, but you really do like being here. People should know that.
I know. I do.
No, you're doing it now.
I do.
Your energy just dropped. It's like you just lied.
Well, the first time I was trying to be like Tony the Tiger, but then I didn't want to be like Tony the Tiger, so I confused myself.
I'm going to leave that alone. But we have a guest here that in the green room. What was so funny is you guys technically already know each other, and I've already bet Ryan that I'm going to blow this name right off the bat, and it doesn't even bother me.
Oh, it's not that hard.
We have Kelly Hartshorn in here
Very
Perfect.
good.
from
Yes.
Staging Spaces. I knew I'd get the name of the company right. Kelly, how are you?
Great. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Now, Ryan, how is it that you guys are affiliated? that you know each other?
Almost like family friends, but just growing up in the Columbus area. You went to IC originally?
I did, yeah.
So that's where I went originally.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's where
okay.
it all
All right.
began.
So we've known each other for a long time.
And that's how our families got to originally know each other, is through that school, and then we all moved out to Delaware and went to Olentangy.
Went to
Yep.
Olentangy.
It was just weird because she said, I think I know you. And I thought, what are the chances that the guy from Freedom Windows knows somebody in the green room?
I know. Who would have thought?
Do you know that Ryan was a wrestling coach and he's a big deal? And that community?
I remember that.
Really?
that. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
wrestling was, pretty big.
Big sport
I
at
think,
Olentangy.
I think it still is,
Yeah.
right?
It's a wrestling town. Yeah, it's a big
Yes.
big tradition there.
Yeah.
Ryan
We've had
loves to
some good
grapple,
ones.
so welcome to the show. He'll get you later. Tell us a little bit of background on you. The Staging Spaces is your company. We're going to get in depth, but tell people what you do exactly.
So we help sellers prep their home and get ready for the market and just get the most money for their home and hopefully do it as easily as possible.
So basically, when someone's putting their house for sale, you go in and make it look pretty.
Yes.
Right.
Basically, yes.
Ah.
That's our bread and butter, and we love making rooms look beautiful and warm and inviting, and for new buyers to come in and
So
imagine
are you guys that
themselves
go in and
there.
like clean up the house? Or you bring your own stuff in, or is every house different?
You're getting ahead.
Every
You're
house
getting
is
ahead.
Get
different.
excited.
But I'm glad you asked that because she did mention some of these things to me in the hallway. We're going to get to
Oh,
that.
okay. I'm sorry.
But what I want, no, I'm glad you're participating,
I'm gonna go to
brother.
the hall.
He's very excited now.
He is. When he starts off on fire, we don't know where the show's going to go. When he starts low, when he's not Tony the Tiger, then we get a little concerned.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Your background, though, it was not originally staging. It's not like you went to school for staging because this is really exploded in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
The actual people being aware of staging.
Correct.
What was your background before you started this company?
So I have my master's in art education from Ohio State. And while I was going to school, I worked at a real estate company in Columbus, Remax Capital Center. And I was the front desk manager. I did a lot of the marketing and advertising. I spoke with a lot of the buyers and the sellers. So while I was going to school for art education, I was also learning a lot about the real estate market in Columbus. And I also have, I would say, about 5 or 6 realtors in my family. And so I've just grown up in that business and so know a lot about that side of things.
And you didn't want to be a realtor? You'd seen enough of it?
No, yeah. Well, just because there were so many realtors in my family, I didn't really think that my background of friends and family, I couldn't pull from different family members
I
for
see.
my clients.
Kind of like that Tupperware
So-
party thing. I can't get enough people to
Yeah.
buy soap from me, so I better find something else to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it.
So now I stage all the houses that they sell, which is
But you got, I would imagine you got to grow up in a lot of these houses and see how they're put on the market and the things that are important.
Right.
When did staging become a thing that you said, I could do this for a living?
So about 5 years ago, one of my girlfriends, she also is a realtor, and she had this house that was sitting on the market for months, vacant. Didn't get any notice. So she asked if I had some extra furniture around that maybe we could go in and stage it. And so we did. It looked beautiful, and it went into contract within a week. So, and over asking price. So then I thought, oh, well, I could definitely do this. I love going into houses. I love decorating. We had just recently moved into a mid-century modern home from a craftsman style house. And so then that also kind of just grew my, love of interior decorating and furnishings. And so, yeah.
Where did you get the items to stage the house? Because the first time
The first house, we pulled a lot of items from our own house.
That's what I was going to ask.
And it worked. We always joke because my daughter's room, we took like her headboard, and just one day she walked in and asked, where is all of my furniture?
What's wrong with our family? Are we
I
leaving
know,
each other?
yes,
I
I hope she doesn't have to, go through some kind of therapy counseling.
Oh, I'm certain there will be. If a little kid comes in and like, where's my bed? Well, guess what, sweetheart?
Right. We moved you out.
But so, tell me about the first time that you're doing this. Like, you had to have a concept in mind. Like, I know we can make these changes, but you don't have a budget, right? So you're going to do it the first time.
Right.
What's the steps you went through? Because that had to be exciting to actually pull it off.
Sure. So what we do every time we walk into a house, we go in, take pictures and measurements. I like to stage to the scale of the room and really create a sense of home when you walk in. So then other people feel like they're invited, like they belong, like they want to live in the space. So we really try to use the right size of furniture, the right style of furniture, which is also very important with Columbus. There's so many different types of homes and different areas that we like to stage and style according to the style of the house. So we pull a lot of things, we bring in a lot of things, and then we'll pull them out after, we've decided what we're going to use and what we're not going to use. And
That's got to be a lot of hauling things around.
Now we have it down to a science where...
Well, I just mean when you're kind of putting a room together, then you're like, well, this works, this doesn't. How many trailers do you have to bring to do like one?
And
Just
it made me
one.
think of like how
Just
stressful
one.
moving is. You're
Yes.
like moving every day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
When she was telling me in the green room about this, I was starting to get that thing in the back of my head, like, I'm never moving. Because I don't, where are you going to put the couch and the TV and all this other stuff, and then where are you going to set it up? I wouldn't want that hassle. She's doing it for people. You said you have 27 homes staged right now.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of movers.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of couches.
Yeah. But think about how many people have to agree. 27 different people have to agree to let you in their house, pay you to do this, and then like how you've set it up. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that. I just brought that up. I don't want you to be nervous.
No, we do really well. We've always had great comments and reviews, and now we do. It's easy for us, and that's why someone would call us to do it, because it is a lot of, once you start thinking about all the steps and and so we have 2 guys who help move furniture, and then I have 2 assistants, and staging assistant and interior design assistant, and myself, and we make it work. It's great.
I like what Ryan was saying about the system. Like, how did you develop? Like, we all have to have our kind of creature comfort of how we build our business, how we operate it every day. How did you come up with that system that you have?
Oh, trial and error. The first year we had, I would say maybe 15 homes staged. So
in 12 months.
In 12 months. And now let's see, in 7 months we have 54 houses staged already, and we'll probably do about close to 100. by the end
Wow.
of the year.
So, like, is there a book you can go check out at the library that like teaches you how to stage, or did you guys really?
There are classes. There are classes that you can take. I never took them just because. I don't know.
You said you have an art background,
yes,
right? So you have a creative mindset anyway.
Yeah, and I can envision once I get into the house where the sofa will be, how to create, either if we have a small room, what to do with that room, because a lot of today's buyers, they don't really have the imagination of what to do with a vacant room. So it's just nice for us to give them those ideas and give them the options.
Do you guys go as far as like actually painting the walls and things like that, or just mostly furniture?
Wait a second, you're reading ahead. You're reading ahead. That's a valid question. I will let you get to that in a second. I'm not mad.
I need your notes.
No, yes. I know, but I want to ask this question first because it bleeds into what you're saying.
All right.
You said today's buyers. So if 34% of the market that's buying homes are millennials.
Yes.
Is that who you're talking about? Are you saying like Ryan and I, let's just say conservatively are over 25 years old? We have a different thought of the house we're living in or we're going to move into. But the millennials, are you saying that they're kind of coming in less aesthetically inclined?
Well, I think that they, a lot of times just it's nice to have everything done for you so that you don't, you want the right colors, the right paint colors, you want the right backsplash, the right light fixtures, the right furniture. So we also offer, if someone would like to buy our whole living room set, absolutely, they can buy that from us. That helps with our inventory to keep it fresh and new. And again, we do style to the size of the room, so our furniture fits.
Right.
So it's easy. It's just kind of a nice little luxury to have. Like, oh, well, we don't even have to go out and buy anything because everything is already in place and it looks great. And
you guys don't have to haul it back.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
That would be my thing. I'd like to sell that furniture so I didn't have to haul it back.
Sure.
Ryan, you were going to ask about painting, I think, a while ago. Go ahead. What was your question?
Actually, that just led me to another question, though, first.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like, I'm just thinking on the entrepreneur side of me, like, if I was, Value City Furniture or one of those companies, I would be wanting to donate stuff and try to, negotiate with you, like, hey, I'll give you a commission, like, basically treat you as if you're one of my sales reps. Do they, have you guys set stuff up like that? Or?
Yes. Yeah. We have discounts throughout the city with a lot of different companies, Pottery Barn, Macy's, Value City, Trove Warehouse, so
I'm like, I got a great idea. She's like, oh yeah, duh.
That was a really good idea because I was thinking, I was thinking about, when they do those furniture closeouts,
right.
Like stores that are going out of business. If you have a warehouse, which we'll get to that, but I was thinking I would wait until the last minute. I would just buy all that stuff at, when it's 80% off or whatever, because somebody at some point is going to want that, or it's just another piece you can use, but it's probably all been picked over once it's 80% off.
Do you ever get ideas too when you're walking through those type of stores? Because I hadn't shopped for a while. Then I got married. Now I'm shopping for furniture all the time.
Yeah.
I could have told you that was going to happen.
She's like, that couch has got to go. I'm like, I had it in college. And she's like, it's got to go.
The springs are popping up, but I love it.
Yeah, the bottom touches the floor. It's great. But like, I go through these furniture stores and they have obviously it looks like a huge warehouse, but they divide it so like this couch, it looks like little rooms and all these little knickknacks and stuff. I'm like looking around going, wow, this is great. I just walk in here and tell the guy, can I just have this, the whole setup?
Yes.
So do you get a lot of ideas from that, or do you like to be creative yourself?
I like to be a little more creative. I don't like to have all the matchy kind of look. I don't want it to look like a showroom.
Sure.
You still want it
so that's what I was
to feel, and our style is a little more eclectic. And I think that's what sets us apart from other staging companies. And yeah, we like to. Every house looks different because every house is different
based on the vibe of everything going on.
Yeah.
Huh.
It would be easier if I just had, one
floor plan A, floor plan B.
Exactly, but I don't think I would love it as much. So,
how do you base the design or the staging plan, do you base it off the person or what you think works for? You're already shaking your head no.
The person, like the buyer.
So if you
Who
went
I
into
think the buyer
Ryan's
would
house and you're like, I don't know, I have 4 deer head on the wall, and you're not in the hunter, right? Are you staging it? Do you work with the seller on that, or do you kind of say this is what will sell? Because at the end of the day, they're just trying to sell the house, right?
Right. Exactly.
Well, they probably trust you as a professional, right?
Yes. I look at the area and see what the demographic is and who I think the buyers will be, and that's who we stage to. So then we're
So
hoping
if you're
to,
like way out in Johnstown, maybe the deer heads would.
yes, or some antlers. Maybe not a deer head,
Okay.
but some antlers.
In Grove
or
City, you can have antlers in
Grove
every
City?
room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it classes it up.
yeah,
Camouflage couch, cool.
Wait,
it's out.
why are you knocking that? I said you can get that Bud Light furniture. Remember those blow-up chairs? If you had those, you could stage my house right now.
Okay, all right.
When you are meeting with the seller, we kind of discussed this where you're kind of the bad guy. Like the realtor wants you to stage the home, and then you have to come in and tell them what's not going to work, right? Whether it's a paint issue or whether it's furniture issue. How do you deal with that? Because you've got to be like the lead person in charge and say, guess what? We got to change all of this, right?
Yes.
So how's that conversation go?
Well, so selling your house is always pretty an emotional process. You know, you're typically leaving a place that you've lived in for a long time, or maybe there's a job change or opportunity in a different state, and so you have to leave Columbus, you know. So typically, you know, you have a lot of memories at that house. So I always take that into consideration and talk with the sellers about how to, one, they are selling their house. So, you know, I give them suggestions on what to do. And if they don't want to do it, then that's okay. But if the house doesn't sell, then I'll come back around and say, well,
I told
we
you
should have done this in the first place. However, I have a pretty good bedside manner, and so I'll help them, you know, just get through this emotional time, and we go through.
But you have to deal with the homeowner, not so much the realtor. So you have to tell them what's wrong with their house and why you have to change it, even though they're willing to give it up. They want the money for it to move on.
Absolutely. That's the end.
What's the worst? Not that you want to tell all the bad stories, but what's the worst thing that's happened? I can tell you what happened to my parents when I was like 8 or 10 years old. So they sold their couch, and I jumped on it thinking that was the only couch we were going to have.
Right.
So that was that still gets brought up 40-some years old. There has to be somewhere in there someone just breaks down crying like, you don't understand, my kid was born in that room or whatever.
Yes, yeah. And I have lots and lots of stories about, you know, my worst experience. But I think, you know, you have to convince them that, well, one, make a plan of what they're going to do with all of this furniture. Because a lot of times, you know, people are downsizing or they're moving across the country, so they don't want to bring.
Right.
They don't realize that they, you know, have to do something with this furniture, and now's the time to do it. And also, you know, I'm just helping them in the process of packing up and moving, so they're going to have to pack it up eventually.
Do people get like offended? Because I know if you went into Michael's house and it's like, oh gosh, you're never going to sell it with this. And
Why is there a full-size Batman in the living room?
Not
Don't question why I have things, Ryan.
one house I did go into, and this guy, he was a mega Ohio State fan, and you know, we live in Columbus, and so you know, there are a lot of Buckeye rooms out there. But this was a little over the top.
Excessive.
And, I mean, it was.
He had the body of the Neutron Man in there.
Yes, exactly. And so that was a little, I mean, he even went as far to say, I don't believe that you graduated from Ohio State. You must be from Michigan, you know? And I'm like,
Meanwhile, the guy probably went to Columbus State for a year.
Right.
Yes,
He got a cooking degree. I love Ohio State.
kind of like Michael's WWF room.
Okay.
First of all, it's WWF/WWE, but that's fine.
I
Yes,
was
I
going to
agree.
say if that was WWE.
Yeah, you wouldn't like the decor at my house, but that's why I'm never leaving, because I don't want to pack anything.
Well, right, and you're not moving, so.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever again. I did it twice, and I thought, I'll never do this again. So I staged my home to look like Beirut, so no one will come in it, but I also don't have to leave it. When you are, someone calls you for a consult, how does that work? They just say, I know I've got to sell this, or I want to move on. if it's not the seller, but it's somebody that, like, what do they call that? FSBO, for sale by owner people.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a lot more intimate because now you're dealing with them directly. How do they find you?
Online, we have a website, StagingSpacesDesign.com. We have lots of social media sites. We have, I don't know how many great Google reviews, Yelp, just online usually.
So it's all kind of been word of mouth, but it's driving people to check out your work online.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we have a ton of reviews. So if anyone were to, look us up and want to make sure that we are doing what we need to be doing to sell the houses, then it's all there.
So far, you're 5 years into this, right? Mm-hmm. So far, you keep growing year after year, as you're saying. What's the hardest part to keep up with in this growth? Because you don't have 30 people working for you and a whole warehouse full of people getting that ready. Mm-hmm. How do you organize that? Because as a small business, I mean, you can have one person and do millions of dollars worth of business, but you've got to organize how you're going to get places. And you're also dealing with the public, right? Mm-hmm. How do you kind of manage that task?
Well, we take day by day. And I think the hardest part is just meeting new agents every day or having these agents call us from referrals from other agents. So staying on top of things and making sure that everyone's answers or questions are answered. We need to get out to the houses and get their proposals back to them as quickly as possible because, real estate it's a hot market right now, and so everyone wants to get their house on the market yesterday, and so we just have to keep.
So if there's a homeowner out there that's looking, maybe their house is currently for sale and it's been on the market, and they're thinking about doing this. Mm-hmm. If they were to contact you, is it something that you charge for a consultation, or a consultation's free, or how does that work?
Yes. So a consultation usually lasts about an hour, and this is if you are still living in your house and we like to go out before the house is on the market, obviously, just so that, once the first buyer walks in, they fall in love with it. So
the best time is to get a hold of you while you're about to put it on, before you actually go on.
Yeah, I would say about 2 to 3 weeks before the house is listed. So then we can come in and make sure that you have the right paint colors, you have packed everything that's needed to be packed, you have done absolutely everything to make sure your house is ready to go. That consult is about an hour long. We charge $149 for that. We send them a detailed...
That's not bad.
Yeah, we send them a detailed list of everything that we discussed during the day, and then they also have that timeline and checklist to go through. One thing I always say to my clients, work in one room at a time, because working and thinking about the whole house, packing it up, getting it ready to move, it's very overwhelming. So stick with one room at a time, and then once that room has been finished, move on to the next space. So that's if you're still living in the house. If you know that you're going to be moving out of the house, then we typically come in about a week to 2 weeks before again, and we take pictures, measurements, send them the proposal, and then we can stage whenever they're ready.
How can somebody, if they're listening to this now or in the future, get a hold of you?
So you can get a hold of us by our email address, which is StagingSpacesDesign@gmail.com, or through our website. And we have a contact page on there, and then they can contact us through our website.
What's the website?
Staging Spaces Design.
The tongue twister.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told you I was going to mess up your name. That's why I didn't go for the website. I knew I would blow that one.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. And then too, we work with multiple agents throughout Columbus. And the number of agents is always growing. So we're meeting new people every day and getting new contacts, and yeah, it's great.
We have to go to break, but after that, I want to talk about the networking aspect of your business, because again, your lifeblood is talking to real estate agents.
Yes.
And right now, they're selling houses without anybody even trying. It's if someone's out there listening, we always try to encourage somebody, that if you are going to start a business or you have a business, you can't get there by yourself, right? You have to use a network of people. Not that you have to go to networking groups, though Ryan can golf with the best of them. But if you're you have to find a way to build that group. And I kind of want to talk about how you built your company through that networking. We'll be back on the other side of this break. You're listening to the 101 brought to you by Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep. And Ryan, I just blew it again, but Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep will be right back. God. You know what I thought of? I thought of her name right in the middle of it. I was like, horse.
Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep. Kelly Hartshorn.
I literally was going to say horse bath. I don't even know why. I was like, why is that in my head?
StagingSpacesDesign.com.
Chrysler always gets me every time because you know what I think of? Is there an H in Chrysler or there's not? And as I'm saying it, I'm like, why does that matter? Just say the word.
At least you can say your S's.
Oh.
I bet the mega Ohio State fan didn't even go to Ohio State. I went there 5.5 years, almost 6 years before I graduated, and I've met people that just are. They don't understand why I'm not as big an Ohio State fan as they are. And then I ask them, when did you graduate? Well, I didn't go to school there. But they're like the biggest mega fan. I'm just scratching my head. Hey, that's cool. That's great you're a fan, but you're a little bit taking it to the nth degree.
Everybody at Walmart went to Ohio State, apparently.
It's like
or they like Looney Tunes.
Right.
Not that they're fake Ohio State fans. Those fake Ohio State fans are ones that live in Detroit or Ann Arbor. And they wear Ohio State gear just because they hate Michigan. It's like people you see here in Columbus, they're wearing Michigan gear, and you ask them, did you go to Michigan? No, I just hate Ohio State. Okay, then you're a fake Michigan fan. Then you can call them out on it. They get really upset.
Or like a lot of the Pittsburgh fans that are from Ohio. Come on.
Hey, there's plenty of Steelers fans from Ohio.
I know.
There a lot of them from Steubenville and Youngstown.
Well, they're not allowed to come back to the Browns this year.
Don't worry. They won't be.
I root for the Browns and the Bengals, so put that in your head and try and figure that out.
Yeah, put that in your head.
I'm from Columbus. I root for the Indians and the Reds. Put that in your brain and try and figure it out.
You see the Reds fight last night?
That was awesome. That dude went
a good baseball fight.
How is he still playing to get traded and he's still in the game?
Because he was still in the clubhouse and he was just like, I'm taking a swing. That Garrett went and he tried to punch 5 different guys. There was nobody even with him. He just ran over like, I'll fight all of you.
Yeah.
It reminded me of alumni for Grove City. Like, we got a guy on our team. I'll fight everybody. Steve, that's the girls' team. Come over here.
You don't want to fight the entire everybody on the field.
What's the park down off 71 where everyone plays softball?
Berliner?
Yeah, I think I've seen that fight there quite a bit.
Oh, listen, every day there's a fight. If you're not fighting, you're not playing softball.
Not a Berliner anyway.
If you don't come home with blood on your shirt, it wasn't a good day. Likes to fight guy.
Punching
guy I
in the
don't
face
want to
brought to
hang
you by
out
Four
with.
Loko.
Did you see the manager? What's his name?
Oh, Bell?
He was on the ground getting trampled.
Yeah. He wasn't even wearing a jersey. Somebody ripped his shirt out. He was like, I'm coming after somebody.
And he was already ejected from the game.
Yeah. But Puig wasn't even in the dugout. He was in the clubhouse. I was like, you're on your way to Cleveland. Okay, I got to go punch someone.
Is he on his way to Cleveland?
Yeah,
probably.
Got traded for Bauer. Did you see Bauer throw that ball? He was getting pulled out of the game. He fired it from the pitcher's mound into center field.
Fined.
That was amazing.
I saw that on.
That's
He
still
threw it over the.
It's still like 275 feet. He threw the ball. I'm like, he should keep him in the game. This
Last time I saw a guy throw the ball that far was Andre Dawson from the far right field corner, laser all the way to third base to throw a guy out, and that was like 35 years ago.
It was on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
that back when I used to be a baseball fan.
That was 2 weeks ago.
No.
Just kidding.
It was before
Is there anywhere
1994.
specific you want to go
Dolls?
with this? Because then we're going to get into networking. Is there anything you want me to touch on?
We could
Hit your website again.
Website, and then we could also talk about
StagingSpacesDesign.com.
the interior design.
Oh, that's right.
And yeah,
If there's somewhere you want to go, like if in the middle of it, you can go, hey, I just want to talk about this. Just treat it like a regular conversation.
okay.
I mean, don't we always talk in the studio? That's what we do.
Yeah, about 28 minutes.
Good, I'm going to go 48. All right.
There you go.
Whenever you're ready.
We'll go over, and
There
I'll
we go.
have
I'm
to
going to blow it
edit.
again.
Ready?
Yep. Welcome back to the 101 brought to you. God, I don't even care.
Take
Leave
two.
this in, Jim. I don't even care that I messed it up. Do not edit this out. Welcome back to the 101 brought to you by Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep. And I don't care that I blew it because I'm going to blow
fired.
this name. I can't be fired from a show I'm hosting.
Oh, that's a good point.
You're fired just for saying that. Dr. Ryan Brown.
Oh, no.
Still here with Dr. Ryan Brown
Well, we're all fired, so
and Kelly Hartshorn
I'm going to pull a
from
a
Staging
Puig on you.
Spaces. You can't pull a mutiny, dude.
Puig.
If you can't do it in the middle of the show. You can't
You just
surprise
run and
attack me and do that. We are talking about staging today. One of the things we did not cover in the first part of the show was interior design. There are a lot of staging companies that do not actually do interior design. They just bring in furniture, decorate the room, get your kind of picture ready. But you guys have interior design that you offer as well.
Correct.
Can you kind of touch on that? Because you do have an art background.
Sure.
But I'm curious to see how you go from, well, this looks good aesthetically to there are other things we're going to do in here, right?
Yes. So we began the interior design portion of our business after we started staging houses that were going to be sold, and the sellers reached out to us and they wanted us to come to their new houses and help them either pick new tile, create new floor plans, rearrange their furniture in this new space, or even help them buy new furniture for their new home. So, I wasn't expecting that in the beginning, but was pleasantly surprised. And it's also a great area to, just grow the business. And so we've hired people to help us. We have contractors that we work with. We do have painters. I think, Ryan, you were talking about that with painting. We don't go actually into the house. In the beginning, I probably would have 5 years ago, but we're so busy that, we hire out, the painters to come in, or the electricians, plumbers.
So you do farm that out, but this goes to the networking part. You had to find them, right? So they kind of represent your business, so you have to know these people and trust them, right?
Correct.
How did you get into that part?
Well, since I have all of these realtors in my family, and I've also owned a couple different homes along the way, just personal experience. So we never would suggest someone that we've never worked with. All of our contractors are great and trustworthy, and they do a great job, and are competitive with pricing. And you always get what you pay for. So you don't want to go to the lowest spectrum of the pay scale. So we definitely, we work with some great people, and we would absolutely back them and make sure they do a good job for our clients.
Well, if you need a window guy, Ryan knows a few.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know if you'd be replacing windows for a home.
I know.
It is interesting, though, because when I am talking with a lot of customers, I do work with a lot of realtors as well, where people are looking to sell their home, and then the potential home buyer says, well, these are all original 1940s windows, and so they're looking for concessions, and so then they're calling me to try to redo the windows, and it's a lot of money you're spending for somebody else. It seems like. Do realtors reimburse homeowners, or do real estate agents pay for this cost, or is it always the home buyer?
For the staging? Some of the realtors, so each realtor is different in the way that they run their business. It's a pretty independently ran business. So some agents will pay for the initial consultation. Some agents will pay for the professional photography. Others will pay for the whole entire staging job, the vacant staging job, and pay for all the furniture. So those, as a seller,
the homeowner and the real estate
exactly,
agent,
yeah. As a seller, those are questions that you want to ask your agent before you sign the listing agreement with them.
I didn't even think about that part. That's a good point, Ryan, because I was thinking that the realtor was the one that wanted to get it in prime shape to get it moving, but
well, they have an interest there.
But they also have to fork over the money for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So unless they're going to pass that on to the consumer who's trying to sell that house. And do you get a lot of brushback, or people looking for deals like, oh, this house it's going to take me 7 days to sell it, so I just want to do a couple things, like they're trying to be chintzy about it?
Sure. Yeah, we always get that, or especially with houses that have been flipped where they've blown through their budget, and now, they're looking for a discount, but we don't typically give out discounts because we are so busy and we stand behind what we do, and we have great furniture. We always do the best that we can do, and so I don't really.
What's the hardest thing to do is
this is the guy right here. I couldn't get a discount from him, even though we're friends, no matter what, because he's going to say, well, Mike, the quality of the window. But he's right.
Yeah,
it's his business.
sure.
He shouldn't have to discount it just to get a deal.
Well, if you discount for one person and you don't for another, then you get into integrity issues. I mean,
I was lying. He'd discount for me.
I would not discount for you.
Son of a-
Yours would be free. Come on, let's be real.
You're never moving. So.
You're never moving.
No, but I never opened the window, so it's fine.
It is tough though, because I actually, a lot of realtors want my card and want to network, and I play the game and I do that, but I really dislike going out to see homeowners that are selling their home to replace windows, because they literally don't care about the quality. They don't care if I hire a guy who's blind across the street at UDF that's sitting outside asking for money. They don't care, because it's not going to be their house after it's sold. They just want something in there that they can say is new, and the glass you can see through, it's not fogged up or whatever.
Sure.
And so they're basically looking for the absolute cheapest thing. And I'm like trying to explain to the realtors, like, hey, I'm not the cheapest way to go. Here, call this company over here. They will do it really cheap and maybe illegal windows. I don't know, but
won't ask any questions.
Some of this might be glass.
yeah,
Sure.
So that's got to be tough from your standpoint. You're trying to ask for money for a quality product, but at the same time, they're trying to get out of here and buy a new home.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I memean, we are so busy. So if they don't want to pay for what we're offering them, then we'll just go on to the next seller, and it's really in their benefit if again, you get what you pay for. If you put this much money into the house, you're absolutely going to get it back. And a lot of times when you go into price reductions, it's always $10,000, and that's a lot of money. So if you're selling your house for $250,000, your first price reduction will be $240,000. Well, you could have gotten $250,000 or $260,000 if you would have staged, or if you would have put in the right fixtures, or if you would have just given the house a little more TLC. So.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because there are statistics about staging I pulled for the real estate show that we do, but it was funny how much the value of a home went up, because it's really the perception of what I'm looking at, right?
Yes, it is.
So you said something to me that I know is true, but it's still hard for me to get in my head. The pictures mean more than the actual when you're walking in the room. Because if I see that picture, that's how I'm going to get baited into going to that house.
Yes, you're right.
So we were talking about Zillow off the air, and how people will still go to Zillow as though that's the kind of Bible, or Redfin if you're on the West Coast. They'll look at these things and say, this is what this house is going for, this is what it's supposed to be, and here's a few pictures. That's
like
like
Kelly
your
Blue Book or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
but that's
right.
your glamour shot. Like, that's the best this house is ever going to look. But people will buy based on first impression of that look.
Yes, absolutely.
That's where you come in, and that's
Right.
where you do that job.
Yes, yeah, and that's why you want to have those professional photos. There are so many pictures out there that you can see the realtor or an assistant taking the picture of a bathroom, and you can see them in the corner with their iPhone. That's not a good representation of your home. So
Do you say that because the
real
realtor's in there and you're getting that shot of their back end, or you're saying because they should be showing the actual? I would rather see. I don't want to see anybody in it. I want to imagine myself in the space.
Yes, right. You just see like their reflection.
Yeah.
That's
Well, let's be
That
honest.
person's
It's
not paying
that.
attention to detail.
Correct.
They're not taking their time and really thinking it through.
Your home and a huge investment that you've made, and
Like
in
when
turn
Mike gets
you
ready
want
for
to
his
get.
yearbook picture.
I'm constantly taking photos of myself in other people's houses, so it's the same thing. And I'm not a realtor. I would think that would be a major turnoff, though. If you want to see the entire room and picture that is your place. But most realtors, and this is not a knock on realtors, but they have a job. You've got to see my face. You've got to see what I'm doing. It kind of takes away from the look of the room if I'm looking at this person, right? But I also can't see behind you. I can't see if you're covering up that backsplash is broken, or the sink is a mess, whatever. If we're talking about the most important thing in a picture, which room is most important in your opinion? If I'm just looking at pictures, do I say living room, kitchen, bathroom?
I think kitchen and baths usually sell the house.
Living room doesn't matter as much.
I
Because the
mean,
women are in charge, so.
well,
But you know what? That is true, because I can remember going on this house hunt, and the first thing was look at the bathrooms, and then look at the kitchen, and I thought, I'm not going to be in either one of these. So I'll be at Wendy's before I get home if I need be, and then I will be in the basement, so I don't care.
The garage, and the backyard.
Well, that was the thing. Yeah, I got to look at the backyard. I got to look at the basement. I don't need to see anything else because I could sleep anywhere in this house.
Usually on the couch.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's why I live alone now. But if you're looking at a house, it always seems to be the kitchen and bathrooms is what sells it. But that has to be, that's more personal taste, right? That's probably where you run into people that are saying, you know, I like the seashell wallpaper or something like that. Don't take it down, right?
Right.
As far as kitchens goes, what's the thing you can stage in there the most?
Well, usually in kitchens, you know, we want to have as much countertop space as possible. You know, create a scene where, you know, people feel comfortable and can work in the kitchen. That's usually where everyone gathers in the house when you're cooking or when you're entertaining. You're always in the kitchen, and it's kind of the heartbeat of the home for most people. So, you know, we soften up those spaces too, depending on their backsplash. If we want to hide something, that's another great thing about staging. We can deceive.
You can create an illusion. You can paint a picture.
Well, yeah, and then also we can hide things that might not be as pretty, or you know, it's because then we'll divert their attention.
There's that
over
hole
here.
that Michael punched in the wall. Let's put a picture there.
Right, exactly.
Right in that Monster Energy drink poster.
Yes, yeah, right. Yeah. So.
You said something about making it clean, and that's where everybody that's the heartbeat of the home. What about cluttering or decluttering a space? That's what you do as well, right? Is that the part that you enjoy the most? I'm sure design is nice, but throwing people's garbage away is going to be awesome.
That's when you call frog hauling.
Sure.
Yeah, you call Marty a
yes.
frog hauling, and she will just toss that out from the second story window, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that a fun... You can say it on the radio, no one's listening. Do you like throwing people's stuff away?
No. I mean, I do
their
like
yearbooks, but
it is a great feeling after, you know, you've gone through the whole house and decluttered. Yes, and it is great. And two, they love it and think, why didn't I do this in the very beginning? Because now I love this house. We have had 2 or 3 different occasions where the sellers decide to stay in the house after.
Because you've cleaned it up so well.
Yes, so
I do that with my car sometimes.
That was I know that
I gotta get a new car, and I
felt bad about
like,
that. Just
I'm
for
keeping it.
The agent, but we have had that.
Yeah,
happen.
but you still got paid, right?
Yes.
There you go. You can't worry about everybody. Not every turtle's going to make it to shore. Just get your check.
Would you come stage someone's house that doesn't want to move? They just need help?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess that's an interior
absolutely.
decorator.
Right. Yeah, but
how do you separate
absolutely
yourself, though? What do you know what I mean? There's so many interior decorators. Like, you can do both pieces, right?
Right.
Like, I would think that's a whole separate business. Now we have to bring her back to talk about that.
Have you thought of that, like to start a separate business for just interior decorating, or is it just too much?
I guess, as we grow, we will probably have to separate it a little bit more, but we always can still offer that part of the business to people, because we do have those clients that are looking. We have them right there. So it is nice just to have.
Is this business, like, I know to be a realtor, a real
estater?
A real estater. I know it's a regulated industry, and so you have to be licensed. To be a home stager, to be in your business, do you have to be licensed? Is it regulated, or?
No, there are licensure programs that you can be accredited, but it's really just paying someone $500 to have that title
some things
behind
or whatever.
you. And
guess where we're going after this? We're getting accredited. Well, wait, Brian, can I borrow $500?
So, like, if I'm looking to hire someone, it's not important to say, hey, are you licensed? It's really not regulated.
I don't think, now that we have been in business for so long and that we do have a huge gallery of work that we've done in the past, I don't think it's as important. But there are staging companies out there that, really showcase that and make sure that everyone knows that they're accredited. But who
needs all that? No one's accredited on this show. makes you different than your competitors, though? So because staging has become this big trend that nobody wants to sell their house without staging, unless you just got this great offer. I don't care, I want to move on. But it seems like more and more staging, there are TV shows about it, there's plenty of podcasts about it, everyone's really into that. What makes you different?
I think the eclectic items we bring to the house, and also just the personality that we evoke in the home really sets us aside. Our pictures don't look like anyone else's. We, again, stage to the size of the home, which is huge. You know, you can't just throw a chair in the corner and say that this is staged. Some stagers do that, but we like to really create a beautiful space for the sellers and the buyers walking in. So I think that's what sets us apart.
Do you ever walk away from a project and say, man, I wish I was in my house?
Sure.
Oh, I did want to ask about the warehouse. Where does all this stuff... You have to be ready to go at any time. So if Ryan said, hey, I'm moving out and I need furniture for the time being, or I want to stage my house, where do you store all this stuff?
We have...
what's the physical address? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, so we are right now looking for a larger warehouse space, 5,000 to 10,000 square feet. That would be the perfect size for us. Right now, since we do have 27 homes staged, that's our storage space.
they're all in houses.
So it's really nice
better hope
too.
you don't sell those houses. You're
All
gonna be
at
stuck.
once, yeah. But then we have storage units that the walls have been knocked out, and so it's a nice size warehouse that we can.
So the
load
longer
all of
a
it.
house, I'm just thinking out loud here. The longer
We're
a
thinking of
house,
logistics right now because I'm doing that, and I'm thinking if they sold 12 of those houses and they say, come get your
well, I'm
junk.
actually thinking about like another side of it where the longer a house is staged, the more money you make because you get paid
Sure,
monthly, right?
we do.
So
we
do you kind of like not stage it well on purpose so they stay at
No.
That's awesome. That's why we're going to get accredited,
Conspiracy.
and we're going to be the worst stagers ever. Keep
That's
it as
right.
long as you like.
Well, so with our business
These guys can't sell a house.
we will charge you the initial fee, which covers us coming out, taking measurements, staging the house, staging and styling, bringing all the furniture in, leaving the furniture in the house for a month, and then also it covers us coming back and removing everything. Most of the time we can do that within a month, and we won't have to go into the second month. If the house is still on the market, or if we're still waiting for the inspections or the appraisals to be completed, then, and it goes into the second month, we always charge a third of whatever that initial price was. Typically it's around $1,600. So, then we also in that second month will prorate that amount. So, if the furniture's only in there for 5 days, then we only charge you for 5 days. We're not looking to,
Right.
gouge anyone or.
Well, when Ryan and I start, we will be gouging.
Yeah.
We only need one customer.
Yeah.
Right,
Just keep
right.
it as long as you like.
Yes, yeah.
There are
No,
flamingos on my lawn.
we want the furniture back, and we want the houses to sell as quickly as
yeah,
possible.
absolutely.
So.
What happens so you got 27 homes staged now. Let's say someone hears this today, or a bunch of people, and they say, 10 more houses, I've got to get that furniture. Aren't you constantly in a buying frenzy, like to make sure you've got enough?
Yeah. If we're not staging houses, we're usually buying furniture. So that's
So
what
it's like a
that's what
vicious
everyone's
cycle.
doing. The rest of my team right now, that's what they're all doing right now. They're out shopping.
Seems like that'd be a great person or place to buy furniture from is call up a staging company and be like, hey, I'm shopping for a couch. What do you have? 'Cause
Yeah,
you
we
probably
just
get it.
we just sold a couch yesterday.
It's like buying a car from like Budget Car Rental or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to be careful because let's say out of 10 couches you sell 7. You got to go find 7 more couches in case you got 7 more people that want them.
And sometimes it's bittersweet because most of the time people want to buy your most favorite piece of furniture.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
all right, well, it's been in 3 houses, so I'm okay to part with it, and because we also want our inventory to keep changing, and we don't want to keep staging with the same stuff, so we like to keep things fresh and new, and it helps with keeping our sanity and making it fun to, create these different spaces.
Is it hard to keep up with the trends of what's fashionable?
No.
I mean, over 5 years, I'm sure you're adding more pieces, but sometimes, I'm trying to think what those sinks are called.
Farmhouse?
Yeah, like that, or that kind of almost like it was a porcelain bowl type thing.
Oh.
And for a minute, that's like a really big thing, and someone wants it. And then it goes away, because the next person comes in and goes, why do I want this big dish bowl here? There have to be things that kind of go out of style that you kind of just put to the wayside, right? Or it depends on the layout of the house.
Sure. Well, the furniture really that we buy, you have to think about a broad audience when you're buying the furniture and make sure that, it's neutral enough, but then can be, just zhuzhed up with a throw pillow or...
Excuse me? Say that word again?
Is that French?
I wish that people could see the face she just made. I thought she was getting ill. She zhuzhed up. Go on. So zhuzhed up, a throw pillow.
Yes, throw pillows, throw blankets, just to kind of give it a new look. Jazz it up.
Isn't that what they call
it up?
Accenting a room? Like pillows and blankets are not really, you're not supposed to use them, but you're supposed to make it look nicer.
Exactly, yeah. Don't sit on them.
Well, if I'm renting them, I'm sitting on all of them. For $1,600 a month, I'm doing more than that.
Yes.
When you're looking
You're
at
not
this,
allowed to live on the furniture. That's in our proposal.
well, I ignore all those rules. If you're looking at, where do you get your style from? Is it magazines? Is it your own personal thing? Because there used to be all these magazines that I can remember. My mom would have these home and garden magazines, and she would be building something in a room based on that. But when you look at it 20 years later, you go, that's a lot of Argyle. Like, we don't need all that. Is that where you get your inspiration from, or where does that come from?
Sure. Yeah, we are always looking on Instagram through, going Pinterest and magazines and pulling ideas, from different sources and maybe implementing them into the houses that we stage, and we do it all.
Cool. Ryan, do you feel like we have a full handle on staging?
I do.
And do you feel like we have a company that we could run and we don't need her?
I think so. You can do all the heavy moving.
Yeah, I'll
just
move
tell
the
you where to
couches.
put it.
Wait a minute. What? This is like my idea to steal her idea. I don't know what you're doing. Tell people again, how can they get a hold of you if they want to book you, even for just a consultation?
You can go to our website at StagingSpacesDesign.com. You can reach us at Facebook, Instagram, email us. We have a house page that we get a lot of clients from. So any of those, we're here. We're local.
Awesome. And you know what I'm saying, Ryan? What's the one thing that wasn't brought up today that every small business or entrepreneur should understand?
It's not about the money.
Right. Every time that we have somebody on, this just proves no one's watching or listening to this, but every time we have a guest on, they never talk about the money. They talk about their passion about what they're doing. So I was glad you didn't say, you know what, this is how much money we made. Now we're going to find out later off the air. But I think it's a really cool thing because you are really into this and very passionate, and you build a team that is there for the consumer to help them sell their home.
It's a great gig.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. Ryan, any books, anything that we need to look into? Law of Attraction?
Speaking of it's all not about the money, there's a great book called It's Not About the Money by Bob Proctor. So check it out. Yeah, it's really good.
It's the book of the week. I love when he has a book.
Okay, all right.
The first time I
wasn't
asked him,
going to be my book of the week, but
I've,
now
I've read a couple Bob Proctor books.
Yeah.
Oh, well, everybody's so much more
Check out
intelligent.
Bob Proctor. Go YouTube Bob Proctor.
Don't give free plugs.
You're
giving Bob Proctor. Anyway, you can zhuzh yourself up by reading some Bob Proctor. That's going to be it for this week. But Kelly, thanks for coming.
Thank
Doc,
you.
always good seeing you.
Man.
You're listening to White's. Oh God, I blew it again. Don't care. Leave it in, Jim. You're listening to 101, brought to you by Whiteside Chrysler Dodge Jeep, and I'll get it right next week.
You used that one up.
I did.
You should have a book of the week.
I like when he gives the book of the week. Even when it's bad, it's good.